5.
2.
Welcome, students, to Monk Meditation, the show about monks in the world of Warcraft.
Way of the Monk got all monked up. You can't jump roll for the win anymore, and the sky is seriously not falling. Coming up on Monk Meditation, episode 39.
Here's your host, Chai T.
Hello everyone, this is Chai T from Airy Peak, US. We have breaking news, a call-in segment, and some great Brewmaster info coming up. Let's get right to it and check in with how WoW is now with all of our hosts in
Storm, Earth,
and fire!
Starting off with our Windwalker, Daikatsu. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, and that's because Boats and Hosen has finally downed Imperator Margok on Heroic.
Congratulations.
So we were fully 7F7.
Well
We went in Wednesday. We got our ass kicked to Mythic Kargath, but we finally got him back on Thursday with about 10 minutes to spare on the raid week.
Well done.
So I guess you could say I'm officially a Mythic Raider?
Yes.
That's scary.
I know.
Wow.
I knew
Especially
it.
after what you said last expansion.
Getting
No.
Heroic Garrosh did it.
I don't know who I am anymore. I
Garrosh
need
did
to go
it.
get some
I
more
told
drink.
you. I was going to turn it. Done.
All right, going to Air. Sir, how are you doing?
Well, I want to talk, but I still hear music.
That's okay. You keep talking over
Okay.
music. All right.
Guys, it's been a good raid week. It's been fun. Mythic Kargath is down. We are 1 of 7 Mythic. Twins, well, we're getting up there in maybe 40, 50 pulls. But this week should be a lot better. Nailing down a strat, nailing down everything. Just a little disappointed I'm not going to be as powerful as I once was with Chi Explosion. So,
We
Yeah.
will talk about that in just a second. Going over to Guanshu.
Oh man, it has been a great 2 weeks actually for my raid team. We actually went ahead and we one-shotted Brackenspore finally. You know, we just went in and killed him. Tectus, we were able to make sure to keep him down. Twin Ogeron, you know, so I was very excited. I started the week with a piece of Warforged gear, gauntlets, but I added to that the heroic Warforged gauntlets instead. I got a second Blade Fist. I got Warforged sandals, and I believe some other Warforged chest piece. So it's been like a week of Warforged gear just coming at me. So
Well done.
it's
Luke
been
Pinata.
yeah. It's just the last 2 weeks have been pretty good for me. My guild, they said that I can no longer be greedy, and I had to give away a trinket. So, but that's okay.
Nerd.
My 600 trinkets are still pretty good.
All
But no,
right.
it's been a lot of fun. We've been killing bosses and less stress, having fun, so it's great.
All right, going over to LeBlue. Sir, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, doing okay. We started off the week with some farm and a very angry GM as people were putzing about on Kargath. Then we did our heroic clear, and I didn't get anything because I don't get nothing. I'm not allowed. Then we went up to Mythic Twins, our arch nemesis from before the break that we couldn't get down. And so, as the prophet Kali Monk foresaw, pull 53, we killed it. So we one-shot Twins first time of the week, first pull of the week. We got Mythic Twins down. Huzzah!
Nice.
Big year. And then I closed out my week with getting an ever-burning candle on my priest, and then crushing Chai's hopes and dreams of ever beating Eve. So all was well this week.
All right. Let's talk about Rolling Thunder. So on Rolling Thunder, we did pretty darn well. Got up to 6 of 7 normal, got down 1 of 7 heroic. Twin Ogeron is proving to be a bit of a bear for us. We have some members who can't seem to move out of the fire, so we'll have to work on that.
Fire bad.
Yes. So we did get we hired a new priest in, and I hear these awful rumors that he is somehow related to LeBlue. And
Just cousin.
yeah, it must be his cousin or something. Yeah. And then he got an ever-burning candle, and I've been trying to beat our paladin, who is fantastic healer, and I've been getting like within 1% or 2, and I'm like, I'm almost going to do it, and now she has an ever-burning candle.
Gee, I wonder who'd be such a jerk to do that. What an awful person that is.
So, Rectified.
I think the quote from that awful person was, "Get wrecked, not going to happen."
Right. Oh, man. So, my other team, Rectified, we rocked it last week. We got 2 new bosses down in Heroic, so we're 6 of 7. Heroic now, so we're going to be working on Margok next week. So that should be a lot of fun. Korog, we did something interesting in Korog. I wasn't on the boss when the ads came up as Windwalker. I went and stood behind the suppression fields and beat down ads, and that wasn't anything I'd done before. But my DPS actually stayed fairly okay on that fight. So that was an interesting thing. But yeah, 6 of 7, so being happy.
That's cool, especially since y'all had your leadership changes and whatnot.
Yeah, it's been...
I'm glad to hear y'all are doing well.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get up enough to start doing Mythic here soon.
Nice.
Sure.
All right. Well, I think it's now time to get caught up in the crazy whirlwind of WoW News.
Dizzying haze.
All right, and I've got a special message from some monks in the community. I want to play that now.
Hello, this is Xenolover. I would like to first say that yes, the Way of the Monk change is a slight overall nerf to the Windwalker damage.
The sky is not falling, I promise you, so relax. It will be alright.
All this change did was to make it so that the damage between dual wielding and two-handers are now close to even. It's to the point that you only need to look at which weapons provide the better stats instead of always going dual wielding even if two-handers has the better stat distribution. One side effect of this change is that this does almost force brewmasters into using two-handers, giving the buff to elusive brew and the gift of the ox generation. The sky is not falling! The other side effect that this change makes is that Tiger Strikes now has a slightly higher uptime for two-handers. Overall, this is just a balancing change that I've been campaigning for since they changed the yellow damage dual wielding coefficient near the end of beta. No more of this. If your staff is X item levels over your 2 one-handers, use the staff.
Hello guys, Sucky here. I hear there's been a lot of riot or uprising about the current patch 6.1 notes for Mistweavers. One thing I'd like to point out is that what people think is going to be an upcoming revival nerf, it's just a tooltip fix. The change has been in-game for quite a while now.
The sky is not falling.
Second, there's the Way of the Monk. People have been thinking this is gonna have a big impact on Mistweavers and Crane's Dancing. To be fair, two-hander has always been the way to go for Crane's Dancing, but as the encounters and aggression and the difficulty of encounters and the way the healing meta in general works right now, you won't really be able to 100% Crane all the time. So, I mean, the impact from Way of the Monk is gonna be so minor that you won't really feel it. And you still want to go for stats rather than weapon type, and in upcoming Blackrock Foundry, one-hander and offhand is going to be the best way to go anyway because of multi-strike, and that the two-handers in that specific instance has mastery on them, which you don't want. So don't worry guys, monks are fine. Don't worry guys, keep it up, and hashtag monk rising.
The sky is not falling. Enough with the nerfs, Blizz, please.
All right, thank you all the people who sent in content for that. At Monkio, at ZuggyTM, at @the_Coltrane, at Aleva, and at Hina Thank you guys so much for that. So I do want to talk about this. It's not, the sky is not falling. People are freaking out over all this stuff. We lost what, like 1% DPS or something?
Roughly.
Yeah,
we
very
lost
minor.
we lost about 1% on dual wielding, and I think we gained somewhere about 2% in two hand,
right.
which basically makes them equal because they used to be about 2% off
Yeah,
or 3% off.
Yeah, Hane
Mr.
Lover.
Brewmaster.
Yeah, Hane Lover said it's two-hander has actually taken the lead by about 1%, and
Yeah.
that's with perfect play. So they're effectively even. So I think this is fantastic because this means you just pick up whatever item you get, and
Except for the double slasher axe, because no, it has mastery. Stay
Yeah.
away from that.
Best weapons ever. Go Windwalkers. Get them all.
Yeah.
that's actually what I
Looks
have
nice.
right now. So, but it has multi-strike.
Oh.
It does have multi-strike, but
Yeah.
the mastery.
Yeah.
You can master your multi-strike.
Yep.
Team, think of it this way. Now you can have that cool little staff that has your booze on it instead of these massive claw things. Because who wants massive claw things
Yeah.
when you can have booze on a stick?
Exactly.
Just saying.
Well, basically, now it makes it a real difference between Blade Fist, between double Blade Fist and Earthwarp Blade Staff on the Windwalker side. Because now, if you're going Serenity, well, queue up the Blade Fist and go nuts with that. If you're switching to Chi Explosion,
That's a
use the
best in slot
Earthwarp
right
Blade
there.
Staff because haste. And
crit and haste.
what's their second stat for both? Versatility, which is just flat increase on your damage.
Yep. So the other thing that people have been freaking out about is the PTR 6.1 patch notes have came out. And so do we have anything else to talk about Way of the Monk before we go into that?
Go staff, Brewmaster. Have fun.
Yep.
The end.
All right, now time to keep your
Yep.
spirits up while the world changes around you in.
The sky is falling! The sky is
Coltrane, we
falling!
talked about this.
Uplift. Don't worry, I'm sure it happens to other monks too.
All right.
No, Colt, the sky is not
Sky
falling.
is not falling. Oh, what the heck?
What the
happened?
hell?
Good job, Chai.
What is going
The
on?
Best sound
sky
man
is
ever.
falling. For real.
I'm confused.
He actually broke it.
Whoa.
Everything just broke.
Okay.
Sky's falling. Everyone run! Run away!
Okay. LeBlue, this is the part where you call him a filthy casual podcaster.
You filthy, disgusting, casual podcaster. Did I do it right? I feel really warm inside right
Wrong
now.
hotkey. You gotta fix that macro, Chai.
Okay. 6.1 patch notes have hit the PTR. And the PTR is
Yeah.
actually coming up, and so we get a chance to actually poke around in there. So, all these things that you were seeing for data mining where they say, oh, we've got nerfed in Revival, we got nerfed in all of our Windwalker abilities, we got nerfed here and here and here and here and here. Those are all tooltip changes. Those are already in effect. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not a nerf.
No
we already
change?
got
We
nerfed
already got
a few
nerfs.
weeks ago. You might have noticed.
So all these
All they're doing is just
text.
updating the tooltip so that we know we got nerfed.
But guys, I read something on the internet. This means something has changed. There's go to Wowhead. There's red text and green text. That means change, right?
the internet. We're also on the internet.
But okay, I gotta think about this.
Right now.
Okay.
What was wrong on the internet? To them!
All right. Well, one change that did come out in the 6.1 is the Blackout Kick glyph has finally made its triumphant return. So
We think.
What?
we think we found
No
it.
one has yet noticed it, found it, and applied it to their character on the PTR. Until then, the mobs are still in queue waiting.
Yeah. we-
Allie is ensuring that.
Yeah.
She will not stop. Her rampage has only begun. Please,
You,
Blizz,
you thought the
please.
rogues recently got uppity. Oh no, my friend. Oh, no.
Well, another piece of news that came out, and this one's actually live right now. Anyone
Oh,
wanna-
boy.
Someone found something interesting right before showtime.
Get your dancing
I can
shoes.
talk about this. I
Go-
can talk about
go
this
ahead,
because I
Aaron.
use this. So recently, one of the things that's been happening, I think Sanch talked about this maybe back in July, about this Windwalker 2-piece PvP set. It's awesome. You know, you get equipped 2 pieces of gear, 660 eye level, better than what you can get in regular normals, and after a roll for 4 seconds, all of your jabs cost 15 energy. So, on
Which they just recently buffed to 15. Or no, what
Okay.
did they do?
they buffed it from 3 seconds to 4 seconds.
Right, okay. That's
That
what
was
they
a tool-
buffed. So
that was a
they
tooltip change.
buffed the PvP 2-piece, and everyone's like, oh God, why?
Yeah. It's been great. It's been great. I've been using this for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, because every time you roll, and with monks, roll is off the GCD. No, wait. Jump is up. Well, anyways, you can jump and roll at the same time. You stay in place, you jab 3 times, and win. Basically unlimited energy. You get the ability to have that kind of GCD capped playstyle, and you generate so much Tiger's Eye Brew. You're seeing 70, 80, maybe even 85% or more Tiger's Eye Brew uptime. So you're doing 60% of the damage 90% of the time, and that's 100% awesome. Okay? However, for all of us who've been using this recently, as of today, it has been hotfixed. Yes! Unannounced hotfixed. It has been hotfixed. So right now, we did some testing before the show, and we're not seeing it usable now outside of actual PvP encounters. So,
yay!
I just want to say to everyone who got that, who actually went through PvP and had to do that through miserable PvE, get wrecked, you bunch of nerds. Thank you.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I spent 1 day in Ashran. Got enough conquests from events to get my headpiece and the leg piece. 660 gear, perfect. I mean, and even the 660 headpiece is haste multi-strike, so it's really not that bad. But you know, it's
so are my
we are not
goggles.
able to use this anymore. So great for not having PvP influence, PvP.
And not for using
PvE,
not for using dumb jump and roll to boost your DPS. I mean, come on, that's just like
it was slightly annoying.
Based. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, except for you're jumping and rolling in place. You're not moving.
That's basically what you're doing.
Yeah, you're doing awesome ninja moves.
It's the John Madden play of monks, man.
Yeah,
and so that's
what
why Air went Night Owl, so he could jump and flip while he rolled and
flipped.
Yeah,
the flip was actually a 10% increase. 10%
but then now that's
increase.
Sadly,
away,
the only race with a better jump Worgans cannot be monks.
Right.
Rip.
So that Blood Elf twirl is kind of nice.
I'm going to be amused to see what the Warcraft log rankings are for next week.
I'm going to be amused to see the QQ on MMO Champion.
Right.
I gotta go queue that up right now. Yes.
Yeah, hold on, I'm going right now.
I am going to make a prediction and say Windwalker monks will still be on top for Twin Ogron. Call me crazy. I think you got that one, guys.
Oh, there's a warrior on Rectified who was tanking for us for a while, and then we finally got another tank, so he got back to DPS, and I was hustling on Twin Ogron because he was right on my tail the whole fight. And I was like, what is going on? What world is this?
Nerf warriors, please, Blizz. Off monks, nerf warriors.
This change does coincide with what they did to the Ret 4 piece as well, because apparently the Ret PvP 4 set was ridiculously overpowered for PvE. So it looks like they're just getting around to tuning all this stuff finally. And
all right, guys, live from MMO Champion. Somebody named PKUSA posted, got the 2-piece literally 6 minutes ago, going to kill myself.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Maybe you should, call a number.
That sucks. Oh, I'm so sorry, dude.
Give him a number to call, guys. We need to help him out.
Hey, we just, team, this is why we don't PvP for PvE. Got it, team?
Yeah.
Good.
No, we don't do that.
All right, well, let's talk about some PvE. It's time now to impart some tips and tricks for those raiding monks in
Fist of Fury. It's go time.
Now, speaking about our favorite encounter in High Mall, especially if you're a Windwalker, Twin Ogron. Oh, I love this guy. So, we'll go over the Mistweaver stuff first, because I'm sure the Windwalkers want to just talk our ears off about this one. Wind Talkers.
Such a good fight.
Put up Stormer and Fire and be at the top of the meters.
Yep.
Babysit it.
All right, so for Mistweavers...
So now that we've covered the Windwalkers.
Yeah. For Mistweavers, there's not really too much here special. It's a lot of movement in the area, depending on if your team does kind of like a stack versus 2 stacks. This is a fight where Chi Torpedo could actually come in very useful, since you're having to do a lot of rolls back and forth to get away from fire. You could be healing, and that's a lot of healing that has to go out during that time, so every little bit helps. I tend to use Life Cocoon here on the tank that is about to go out for Whirlwind. Just helps them keep up a little bit longer. They're usually taking a couple stacks of fire as well, so good time to use it. So for talents and glyphs, the only one I usually go for, Cheat Torpedo is useful. Diffuse Magic is also one that I choose, and it'll be nice to have an interesting conversation with whoever put in Dampen Harm here, because I think both of them have their uses. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Let's go to Brewmasters.
All right, I guess I'll start here. So the big thing for Brewmasters is we're a really good Femos tank because you need to move him out for Whirlwinds and then move him back otherwise. So while tanking Femos, you can have like your Transcendence to wherever you choose to move him, whether that be off to the side somewhere or you're parking him in the middle because you like to play Dance Dance Revolution / Tuhu while you're playing the game while he's whirlwinding. Whatever your fancy, but you can have your Transcendence there so you don't have to run through fire and you just pop up where you need to go and he comes right to you like 5 to 10 seconds before he actually starts whirlwinding. You'll also probably want to guard during it, as well as having Elusive Brew for his whirlwind, because you can dodge the spins even though the debuff stacks on you, and you can basically sit out there and be self-sufficient. It's wonderful. And it kind of goes without saying, if he's not whirlwinding, pull him on top of pole, Keg Smash, declare your victory with Chi Explosion as you cleave them. Go ahead, Adam. I'll let you do talents.
You're going to let me do talents. One thing I'm going to say real quick about Transcendence, though, is make sure a raid marker gets put where you're transcending to. Otherwise, your healers have a hard time following you. Like, we said where we're going to go. I put my thing down, and I would Transcendence there, and then it was like I don't have a healer because they didn't realize it just popped over there. So mark your little territory of Transcendence is key for at least my raid team. That helped, and that's what let us eventually take them down because the healer was ready for me. So talent choices. I like healing elixirs personally because just a little bit extra healing here and there, and if I drop low, it gives me the healing. So that's the one that I've chosen. Which one have you gone with, LeBlue? Do you go?
So when I was learning the fight on Mythic particularly, because the fire hurts just a smidge more, Diffuse Magic is great if you consistently are taking stacks. That could be whether you suck at fire, putting it bluntly, or you need to do a lot of emergencies. I need to get Femos out now because my melee won't move away from him kind of moves, so you run through fire. So usually if you get like 3 or 4 stacks, you pop Diffuse Magic, and for 8 seconds you just kind of giggle at the damage. That's why I say it's either one. If you're better at dodging fire, healing elixirs, I agree. But the option is there for Diffuse Magic.
Yeah, especially on normal mode. The fire doesn't do that much damage.
Doesn't. You can dance in it and you're probably fine.
Exactly. So level 90, Zuen, kind of help out with the damage. Recently my team's been really good about getting their damage up, but especially the first time we took them down, any little bit of damage taking out that I could do was great, and that included going with Chi Explosion. I've been running Chi Explosion pretty much on every fight, and this one even makes more sense because at 4, guess what? You get to cleave some damage onto the other boss as well. So nothing but good things for Chi Explosion nowadays. Nothing but good things.
Scumbag it up, sick boys. We're good for that one. Serenity is great if you are new, if you want to focus solely on defense. Damage isn't an issue. If you just hit 100, Serenity's good. But darn it, if you have any modicum of gear, just go Chi Explosion, cleave, and be the scumbag that all Brewmaster monks were meant to be, because Blizzard will probably keep buffing us anyway. So, huzzah.
So that pretty much does it for, I think, the talent choices and little tricks. I mean, it's a great fight for us, I think. We get to use kind of a lot of different things. I don't find a lot of times we can use Transcendence.
There's been a couple this tier, actually. I've been very impressed.
This one is like the one.
Yeah, this is one of the better ones, definitely. I can think of a couple others, but this is definitely a good one. So have fun playing DDR with the fire.
I love that game.
Well,
you would.
All right. Windwalkers, go ahead and talk our ears off. Let's go.
When do you start, Duke? Because I did the whole breaking the PvP news.
Sure. So, if you're not using Storm, Earth, and Fire, you should use Storm, Earth, and Fire. I cannot stress enough how heavily you should abuse Storm, Earth, and Fire. This fight is a gift to Windwalkers, and you should use Storm, Earth, and Fire as much as possible. Your uptime needs to be as close to 100% as possible because it's a passive 30% buff to your damage the whole fight. All of it. It's fantastic. Seriously, if you're not using Storm, Earth, and Fire on this fight, there's something really wrong. Because it's just press button, punches normal, win meters. Come on.
Indeed.
And me personally, I like Touch of Karma for Blaze decks.
You scumbag. You scumbag.
Every now and then, I'll dip my foot in it, get a stack or two. Okay, good. Touch of Karma. What? No damage.
When you got your raid leader yelling at everyone for hitting Blaze, you might want to avoid that, though. I will mention. We have a lot of defensive cooldowns that are really good for this particular fight. If you happen, there's so much that's avoidable. But in case you do find yourself in trouble, Diffuse Magic will give you 6 seconds of immunity from Blaze stacks, which is nice. Touch of Karma is also nice. Touch of Karma is nice to kind of absorb that big giant quake thing that hits the ground. The big don't stand in this.
Yeah.
Pulverize.
Yeah.
Stand in it. You jump up a little bit, looks good. Touch of Karma will absorb that on Heroic. Mythic, you will take some damage. I don't recommend that.
Walkers is what we are here.
And Zen Meditation. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to have this on a easily accessible hotkey, because if you do take Blaze stacks, if you happen to get 2, maybe you get a weapon dropped in your head because you were standing in the wrong spot and you instantly take 6 stacks, Zen Meditation might help you live through this a bit more.
I get so
Can confirm.
sad. I get so sad when I'm on my Mistweaver because they took that away from me. So I get 3 stacks and I'm like, well, have fun, other healers.
Is there a res?
It's an immediate death.
3 seconds. I'm going to need a resurrection.
Yeah.
So Duke, what talents do you like for this fight?
Believe it or not, I actually like taking Dampen Harm instead of Diffuse Magic. The main reason is because of Pulverize. It syncs up perfectly with the Pulverize timer. There's 3 big hits for Pulverize. You hit that, damage is gone. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't really have to move as hard because the big hit that comes last, the closer you are, the more damage it does. Well, if I need to get so far away that I can't damage the boss anymore, I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and that doesn't help top meters.
So question,
it does help with staying alive, but...
Question is...
Sure it does.
Quake damage,
Pulverize is all physical damage.
Is the Quake damage magical or physical?
Nature. Quake damage is nature. Pulverize is all physical.
Man, you got to go Diffuse Magic on this then.
Touch of Karma. It's always up for Touch of Karma.
Yeah, you, Windwalkers are the scumbaggiest class next to rogues.
Yeah, but with I say Diffuse Magic because not only do you have Quake going on, but you have a chance of getting a Blaze. So I usually take Diffuse.
Blaze is just ticking damage over time.
Yeah,
the fire itself doesn't do a lot of damage.
Well,
unless you're literally standing it going, yes,
if you get
burn my flesh.
2 stacks, it can be deadly if your healers aren't paying attention. But
Touch of Karma.
Touch of Karma only does 50% of your health pool.
Right, and for the rest, you got Zed Med if you were a little heavy on the Blaze there.
Right, but Diffuse Magic is you ignore that whole thing. So and Pulverize is as if you get far away, which we're really good at, you don't take a huge amount of damage, and you have Fortifying Brew for that. So
defensively, defensively, you might also want to look at even taking your Fortifying Brew, making sure you're using that to help out. If you're an engineer, make sure you get that shield on there as well, because that's very nice. And
talked about that on the show yet.
The glyph is also nice because you also take less overall damage, depending on what glyphs you're running. This fight is made pretty much with Chi Explosion as well.
Yeah.
Serenity is nice if you're really, really good at it, but Chi Explosion with the double dotting, and if you're able to really keep the guys together like you should, I'm a big fan of Chi Explosion. I really was a huge fan of it when I could use a Windwalker 2-piece for all the energy. But it's for a regular fight, without any of that extra mechanics, Chi Explosion really does work really well for this.
I always do Chi Explosion on this fight, but my team's always stack them together except for Whirlwind. So if your strategy doesn't involve stacking, then I think Serenity is the obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I think that was mentioned about the Brewmasters, and this is mentioned in Twitch chat, is if you're a Brewmaster and you're on Whirlwind, use Zen Meditation. Avoid
No,
all that
That
damage.
lowers my DPS. I can't do that. I need to do
So-
deeps.
If you're having trouble dying, for whatever reason, Zen meditation, get that glyph, make sure you can move around, especially when you're using fire too. I mean, your goal is to hold the boss but stay alive. And at that particular point, with the whirlwind, you know that the boss is also going to be further apart, so they will be doing more damage to you as well.
Yep.
So,
All
Scumbag.
right. Well, let's move on to the next scumbag, Karak. Oh, I think all of it. It's like we go from our favorite fight to our oh god, this guy fight. So that should be fun.
you get to be the hero at the end with physical damage.
Right.
Yeah.
So, general tip I'm going to give. This is for all specs. Use a defensive cooldown when just before that frost orb. That frost orb is one of the biggest damage dealers out there that the healers have to contend with. So having Fort Brew, Diffuse, Touch of Karma, something up will really help your healers out right there. So I'll take Mistweaver second here. Let's do Brewmaster first.
Go ahead, why don't you?
Well, I'm still working on the boss. So, I mean, a few things that I've noticed right away is I definitely, yet again, I use Chi Explosion on this because I'm helping out with that shield. I think we get a little appreciation because we're very magic heavy for our damage. So they get very angry that shield's up there.
Right.
They're like, we're not doing anything. So I try to help them out just a little bit with the Chi Explosion. I kind of have like a general tip for all tanks. Because the tank I work with, I had to like explain this to him. Like when he starts casting the arcane spell, like you can start moving when he starts casting it and get out of the way of people. Like that's kind of my big tip, I think, is a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot of people, but people I've tanked it with kind of wait there, it gets casted, and then they run, which isn't the right way to do it, I don't feel like.
Because I'm busy scumbagging DPS. That's why.
Right.
Gosh
The,
dang it.
number, the number of times I've been killed as a Mistweaver by the tanks just like going la 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 la, boom.
Right, because
yeah.
you can taunt as soon as he starts casting, because he's not going to switch the cast onto the once you taunt. So you can taunt, and then the guy you run, and then you're good to go. So that's kind of my biggest tip for this fight: is get moving beforehand. That's what I learned. LeBlue will have better tips because he's like beating the fuck
This fight?
This fight so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
it's
stupid boss, he has this wonderful habit of he's casting and he's running away from you and you're running away from him. So like even the half the time you're actually tanking him, half the time he's like, oh well, I'm gonna go bug those other 18 people. You two just stay there and look pretty. I'll be back for you later. So my big thing is we are awesome with those ads. I think the only tank that possibly beats us out on ad control when he's doing his recharge phase is Death Knights. But we can very easily throw Dave down in the middle of the zones, throw Brew on them while they go to Dave. You can even help kite those ads until it's time to kill them, and then you pop Diffuse Magic, you run into the zone, you get them all in there, get them low, stun them, roll out, and you'll probably be just in time to taunt off for the arcane debuff while your DPS fixes and kills them and all that kind of cool stuff. The big thing with our mitigation, though, his melee swings aren't that threatening. He also, like I said, runs away a heck of a lot and doesn't melee us for very extended periods of times, whether he's casting or running off to put a big void zone down. If you have a decent-sized stagger, but he's about to run off, let it tick. You're saving Chi. You can Chi Explosion some more, but let it tick because you're not taking threatening damage, and he's probably going to just throw an arcane debuff on you anyway. So it's like our mitigation for this one is just hilarious to watch because we don't take a lot of actual damage from the boss outside of a few melee swings before he does something else because he's got ADD or something. For talents and glyphs, like I said, Diffuse Magic, amazing for this. Level 100 is a little interesting, though, for Brewmaster. Fun fact, those ads, they melee for arcane damage, not physical damage, which means Soul Dance is actually really, really good for this fight, especially as you get into higher difficulties. And those ads actually melee for something, and you're trying to drag them into the zones. And just like anything else you try to tank, they don't ever want to play nice, and they don't start doing like dances around you like you're doing a square dance or something. So you gotta sometimes just sit in the middle with them. So Soul Dance is really good.
Every now and then I notice one of those ads just kind of goes, "Ooh, a mage."
Yeah, they just do all kinds of crazy things. So Soul Dance is really good for reducing the damage from them. That's probably the most tank threatening part, is picking up all of those ads. And then Diffuse Magic, again, pulling them into the zones, reducing the damage not only from the zones, but from the ads themselves meleeing you. Big disclaimer, if you take Soul Dance, do not take Glyph of Guard. Because there's this weird thing right now where if you take Soul Dance, it registers magic damage as physical. And I say physical in quotations because it's actually not physical, but Glyph of Guard thinks it is because you're staggering it. It's really odd. So if you take one or the other, you don't take both. And I don't recommend Glyph of Guard because Guard reduces all the damage anyway. Why limit that to just magic?
Right.
So, but if you don't need the Soul Dance, take Chi Explosion and help push the shield off faster. And I guess if you want to be a scumbag and only do physical damage, Serenity, but blah. There you go. I'm done.
All right. Well, talking about Mistweavers, you can pretty much avoid most mechanics on this fight because you're counted as melee, but you don't actually have to be in melee. And so the only thing you have to pay attention to in your positioning is where the tanks are going to be running with their arcane, because I can't count the number of times I've been killed by those jackasses. So just kind of stay off to the side. You don't have to worry about trample. You don't have to worry about arcane, and have fun. Heal away. Now, one thing you really do have to pay attention to is moving your statue. As your team moves around the room, move your statue along with it so they're keeping up. And Life Cocoon, the strategy on this one, use this one as often as possible. This is one of those things that really, really helps people. Now, this will really depend on your team strategy. If you're ignoring ads and burning the boss and then switching ads later, you're going to want to save this for your tank that has the ads, because they're going to be hit like a truck unless they're a brewmaster. If they're killing the ads while the shield is up, hit the soak person to really help that out. So you can pay attention more to people taking other damage. Tiger's Lust, I take this one and I try to be helpful with it. I'm not very, but if there's someone you know that's slow getting out of trample or has frost orb on them and doesn't have anything like blink to get away, you can throw Tiger's Lust on them to just help him get it right out of there. Diffuse Magic, take this for the fire. It's really nice you can step out, hit Diffuse Magic, your fire debuff goes away, you can dispel someone else. One thing you can do if you want to be a complete jerk is Revival right then. Do that. Wait, don't do that. That'd be bad. Especially for, well, okay, I will say this. If your team is really, really smart and they're all spread out and they're not next to each other, Revival is fantastic right there.
Yeah. Clears all the debuffs.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a team that does that, so...
Use it for the shadow debuff, though, but not the fire.
Right.
Please don't.
Yeah, shadow debuff is a really good time to utilize Revival.
Yeah. Revival with Amp Magic, gone.
Yep. Don't have to worry about that one at all. Okay, going on to Windwalkers.
Air?
Yeah, okay, so this guy is kind of a different mechanic where he has this like magical shield that you guys are talking about. So Windwalkers, we do a lot of physical damage, especially when we're in that very serene serenity kind of mood. So we can be the heroes of the fight, because we're always damaging the boss. We don't have to worry about any kind of magical thing, just hitting. However, not all raid teams have a kind of equal makeup of physical damage and magic damage. So if you're looking to help out your raid team a bit, Chi Explosion is nature damage, that is not physical damage, so you can actually help out with the shield a bit more if you're having trouble with that. It's overall, since it's usually a single target fight, and unless you're rocking really high levels of haste or a Windwalker PvP 2 set, you're not going to do a higher damage single target with Chi Explosion. So, it's close, and if you're really, really good, yes, but I'm not. So I like Serenity here. And I typically my raid team, we have a lot of magic guys, so we do a lot of physical damage for that particular part. When he does his shield charge, that's a good time to make sure you have a 10 stack of Tiger's Eye Brew waiting. If you can, if your Serenity is off of cooldown, save it for that. Pile on as many of your cooldowns that you can save up. If you have your lucky double-sided coin and it just come up, wait for that exact moment, because depending on how fast your magic guys do, that'll change the timing of the fight, and so it will be different for every raid team. But stack as much damage as you can when he's not moving, because awesome. Otherwise, it's a stupid fight for how much movement he's going when he's doing the smash and the silence, and it's really, really annoying. And in case the tanks have kind of a missed taunt and one goes off to the other side of the room with the arcane damage, then you just sit there spinning around because it looks good versus just standing there not hitting anything.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, even though this is definitely a Serenity fight, I tend to go Chi Explosion just because I get really tired of the boss moving right when I do Serenity or right when I do Fist of Fury. And so I like to go Chi Explosion so I can save up the 4 Chi. He runs away. I'm like, screw you. I can still hit you. Bam! And that's why I like Chi Explosion on that fight.
Fun little thing, but if the boss does run, if any boss runs out of way and you're using Chi Explosion and your Expel Harm is up, that's a good time to just pop that to gain 2 Chi in the interim.
Right.
Little
It has a 20-yard range. Not a lot of people realize that.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's just something to help build Chi when you're not sitting there doing anything. So.
Yeah, that boss moves way too often. Every single time I'm going to hit Fist of Fury, he walks away. It's like, what? I wanted to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you do anything for the ads there? I always ignore the ads because our range is just nuking them down, and we don't need me to split my damage on the boss. So, Duke, what do you do for that?
Well, in Boatsahosen, we are actually very melee heavy, so we ask the melee to help out. So
okay.
I launch a clone on one of the mobs, and I just start doing some spinning crane kicks.
Yeah.
Usually helps take him down within a couple of GCDs because everyone else is also helping, right? If I have Fist of Fury up, I'll do that. That tends to take care of them a little quicker. You lose a little bit of damage on the boss, but on the plus side, your tank is alive.
Yeah.
Everything in balance.
Confirmed. Daikatsu scumbag. Cares about tank life. Confirmed.
Yes, I do, because when the tank dies, usually he goes, I smell a monk. And that's when I go squish.
Yeah, it's, Rectify did the same kind of strategy where they have the melee go and help out, because there was a common misconception. I wanted to squash this right now, because I was thinking this up until a couple weeks ago, actually. When the boss goes into the middle and he drops his shield and he's recharging, a lot of people think he gets a damage buff, like a multiplication. That's not true. All he does is become susceptible to magic damage.
Right.
And so
the vulnerability is, I now hurt from magic.
Right. So your monk melee damage is not doing any bonus. It's doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So you just allocate your DPS where you need it. And so in Rectified, what we did is we took all the melee over to the ads, let the ranged nuke the boss, and we get the ads in place, nuke them down, go back about our business. So it's interesting. There's different ways to do this fight, and it all works. So
I think that originally came from the PTR, is when the mechanic was he took extra magic damage then too. Mm-hmm. Could be wrong. Probably I'm wrong. But that might be one of the reasons why it's such a highly misunderstood thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And Quintuple has
including
a good
on this
point.
show.
Yeah.
A couple weeks back.
Yeah. Quintuple has a good point. The reason you want to pop all your cooldowns when he goes into the shield is he stops moving around.
Yeah.
So you can just
aim.
It's like, he's stationary, and for those 10 to 15 seconds, you don't have to worry about aggro except
unload.
You're just, hey, I've got all these buttons that when I hit them, it says pull from the tank, but actually it doesn't work now.
Yeah. When he's sitting there T-bowing, aim for the weapon, because that's his back. Okay? Because depending on where you are, when he's sitting there doing that, it's easy to get turned around. So just look for the big weapon and start hitting that, because that's his back, and then you won't have to worry about your blackout kick healing you when you're not taking damage.
You may commence fire when your targets appear. Takes a knee. Targets! Just blow them up. That's it. The end.
Well, now, students, it's time to meditate and expand our knowledge in
Transcendence.
All right. Aaron and I will go take a nap. It's time to master...
Says the Wind Talkers.
Right. It's time to master the Brewmaster. So, there's a lot of conversations that have been coming up recently regarding Brewmasters, and we've had a couple of them already on the show tonight, so let's go. Round 1, Serenity versus Chi Explosion. Go.
Soul Dance.
Adam, you first. Start this off.
You know, I've always liked Chi Explosion because I felt I didn't need Serenity for most of the fights. I find the shuffle up time is great. The fact that I get to clear up all my stagger damage at the same time has been great for me through the beginning on normals. And I couldn't help but wonder why Lou hated me so much for it. For a while there, and he just kept yelling and getting angry. I just feel like it's a better option. I understand Serenity is a little more better for defense, like LeBlue has said over and over again, but I don't think we need it. So that's why I kind of stuck with Chi Explosion, even after LeBlue chastised me. And him being the...
Publicly.
I will continue to do so, darn you.
2 episodes ago, if you want to catch up to that.
Yep, he just chastised me. But I think I kind of brought him along my way, huh, LeBlue?
Controversial.
All right, team. So here's the thing. So back when Warlords of Draenor first came to the servers, we, as tanks, had to actually care about how much damage we took. And then Blizzard said, let us buff the Brewmaster, for clearly they are weak in all their overpoweredness, and they need help. And so they buffed us. And now we don't care about defense anymore. It's freaking... So, Serenity was really great because it used to allow us to effectively reduce a lot of damage because we could purify far more often, and we could do it on a unset schedule similar to how Chi Explosion. It's very set schedule. You pretty much know in a like how often you're going to purify.
How does Serenity allow that?
So Serenity lets you generate 60 seconds of shuffle over a course of 10 seconds for free. Doesn't cost you basically anything. You just pop it with 2 chi or more, and you just blackout kick, and during that you can even purify. Thus, you can dedicate a lot of chi to purifying without worrying about your shuffle dropping off. So that was a huge defensive gain. The problem became when they made it so that we take so little upfront damage because of the buff that you can wait for that 3 or 4 chi explosion and not actually take that much more damage relative to if you were doing Serenity and purifying it all. I mean, yes, you will take less damage. It's unnecessary.
Right. But see, so here's the big thing I always had. Yes, you have this nice 60 seconds of shuffle up, right? It's great. However, having 50 extra seconds of shuffle doesn't actually help you at all. And with Chi Explosion, I never had my shuffle fall off, so as long as it was up anyways, I was actually just fine. And on top of that, I'm not using the extra Chi on having to purify, so that means I'm actually Chi better.
Now, keep in mind, though...
you are using the Chi, though.
Keep in mind,
right,
though,
but I'm not
also,
using 1 Chi to purify, and then not using the Chi. You know what I'm saying? I'm using the Chi as part of the explosion. So I'm bringing it up to 3 Chi using the explosion. I get the same amount of time on my shuffle as if I'm blackout kicking, and I'm getting rid of my damage. Opposed to then having to use one of the Chis for purify. That means I'm actually using less Chi to do the same thing.
Keep in mind, though, on a hard-hitting tank fight like Butcher, where your focus is supposed to be I need to reduce as much damage as possible, Serenity would be a very powerful talent because of how much damage you're taking. The problem with Chi Explosion, especially if you can't fit in there several 2 Chi explosions without taking significant damage, is you do actually run a bit tight on your shuffle, where even a guard could potentially cause you to lose it, especially early on. That's the biggest risk with Chi Explosions, not having it for guard, or you do guard and now your shuffle fell off because you need to generate more.
Which
and-
the weird thing is, the butcher fight is the first fight that I started doing this because it let me beat the butcher fight, which is
Right,
the weird thing.
I remember you
because of
saying
normal.
that, which I still don't know how that quite works, but whatever, you killed the fight. And then I heard, some of you might know Mizumi, who full crit build, chi explosion, tanked Mythic Butcher, and was laughing about it. So, the verdict is, unless you really are like me, who's still super paranoid and follows the Church of Mastery, our almighty damage reduction stat, go chi explosion.
So now I guess this goes right to the next step here, is that I don't go crit, I go mastery for my, I do mastery with chi explosion.
I mean,
which is kind of the other thing that's a little crazy.
So here's an admission. I hate our 100 talent row outside of Soul Dance. I actually dislike both of them, but I hope to see Serenity come back in the form of nerfing our stance again back to what it was. I really hope to see that because Serenity.
I think we'll probably see that right before BlackRock Foundry opens up.
I think 6.2. I don't think BlackRock, but I think 6.2 we'll see it. Because right now I am nearly 60% staggered, darn it. I am almost there. I'm not even in full mythic gear yet. Nearly 60%. You know when the last time I was at 60%? Siege of Orgrimmar. We're already like at 3rd level tier mastery set, or I'm sorry, stagger, in the first tier, not even all the way through it, not even full mythic gear. We're there. They have to fix. They have to.
Only going to get worse.
Yeah. Or better.
Depends on the point of view.
100% stagger. No.
Okay, so first of all, LeBlue, stop smacking your mic like a madman. Second of all,
but it likes it.
Yes, mastery versus crit. Go.
Bunchy, you want to start again?
No, you get to start this time. I'll pass it over to you.
I'm enjoying this. This is good.
So, fun fact, team, with the recent dual wield versus one-handers, or whatever the heck, dual wield two-hander change, yes, Way of the Monk changes, crit got even better for us now, because now we auto-attack faster, which means more chances of crit, which means more elusive brew generation. Huzzah! Crit also does more damage than Mastery does right now. So, again, damage, crit is king, but you also get survivability bonuses out of it, particularly on tank swap-esque fights, because if you're not actively tanking, Master does nothing for you defensively. Crit, you can build up elusive brew, yada yada yada. We have so much base stagger, though, that you don't actually need the Mastery. It's nice. I like to have it, because if my healer's name doesn't start with a La and end with a Var, I may or may not trust you. I'll let you figure out which one of those two are.
It's definitely not the former.
But Mastery is a super strong stat. It's actually going to only get better as a tanking stat as we get more of it, because there's no diminishing returns on it, so it only gets better. The question then becomes is how much of this do you need before you can go straight damage and not care? So that's the Mastery versus crit thing for me. I still go Mastery, if for no other reason than to spite Mizumi and refuse to convert to his ways fully.
I agree with you. I like Mastery. The improvement to the attack speed, all I see is that means I don't need as much crit because I'm going to be doing that many more attacks. So what ends up happening is you're attacking more, so you're critting more often anyways. So I actually like Mastery because I like to split it. It's like one thing I do is pure tankiness. So instead of taking Serenity, I take Explosion. That's not tankiness. So my Mastery is my tankiness. So with Mastery and Versatility, I find that I get a lot of damage reduction and just ability to stagger more damage, and that's enough for me. So I don't really like going too much into crit, because I feel like if I went too much into crit, I might be a little too squishy, especially at my eye level.
Maybe Multi-Strike, which also technically got a buff with the Way of the Monk changed, because again, swinging faster.
Yeah.
More attacks.
More attacks with Multi-Strike to proc it. So yeah. But hey, chin up there, good Sir Adam, because Orgorger in Blackrock Foundry, one of the first bosses you can do, has a crit mastery two-hander. Huzzah! We can all be happy.
Best of both worlds.
Yay!
All right. So, I want to move the topic on to one that I know LeBlue has strong feelings about, and I'm sure Guanshu does as well. Brewmaster representation. There is still a stigma out there that brewmasters are middle of the pack, maybe a little bit low, and I see everyone shaking their heads over here. Why do we have this
stupid good?
Right.
Stupid good.
Why do we have this thought in the community, and how do we squash it?
Okay, so
we send LeBlue to each one of their houses one at a time.
Yes, I will
and
have
he's
a
like,
little book
"Are
that says
you
Way of the
Dragon
Monk."
user 42895?"
Have you heard about our savior, Dave?
Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Dave and his buff to stagger? So, but no, week before raiding, or even I can't remember exactly when the buff was, to be quite honest, but in beta, Brewmasters were roughly middle of the pack. We were better than Death Knights and Druids, but we weren't quite Paladin and Warrior levels, especially when it came to tier set bonuses. We definitely had one of the not so great off, whereas Paladins and Warriors really solid right there. And then come up raid week, the high end teams that are running those multiple groups, they've already got, okay, this is what we're going to run, this is what we have, and this is what we're going to funnel gear into. So they funnel in all that gear, all right, and then Brewmasters get buffed. So you've got the choice between like a 670 Warrior Paladin or a maybe 650 or so Brewmaster, and that's one of the things I think really kind of nailed it. Another thing is a lot of these high-end guilds have been playing X-Tank spec for years. Like, it's traditional, if you will. That's just what they've been playing. Sure, they'll have the tank alts, but a lot of them on progression have a preference. And unless it's something incredibly broken, i.e. Monk kiting something, or Monk flat out nullifies this mechanic, or something of that, I mean, there's no reason for them not to switch to what they're most comfortable on. And that's just kind of another little thing to keep in mind. Now,
I honestly, just to talk about that for just a second, I think that was one of the biggest problems that we had in Siege of Orgrimmar, is that we became the gimmick tank. And that has hurt us. That has really hurt us. It's like, okay, you can get through just about everything with a Paladin. Your second tank is going to be either a Warrior or a DK if it's the raid leader and they're really set on that. But if it's like, okay, we got to kite this thing around, or hey, there's something that we can do with the Monk where he teleports across a room and the boss does nothing for like 3 seconds. It's like that's our role, is the gimmick tank, and it's really hard for us to break out of that.
On 25 heroic, you could solo soak Malkrok's Blood Rage. I mean, that's another thing. But here, I think, is probably one of the biggest factors this tier: Windwalker monks. Windwalker monks were so good on so many fights that if you had a monk, you probably went Windwalker, because they did that much damage on things. I think that's a really big factor we have to take in, which probably actually affected Mistweavers too. But I fully expect, now that they've toned down Windwalkers a bit, Brewmasters are getting seen a little bit more, that in Blackrock Foundry we'll see more monks. I mean, Method, I believe, is going with Just Wait. He's on his monk tanking. Rignoros, if he doesn't have something come up again, he'll probably be on his monk as well. I fully expect to see a lot more out there as we go. So we'll see. Adam, you have anything to say?
Coming from the dirty casual end, the normal moders.
It's filthy casual. Filthy casual.
Yeah, because I'm way up there with my rank. Never, just leave me alone.
We're still running into the problem where a lot of people just don't have monks at this point. Like, I'm in two.
We are still the lowest represented class.
Yeah, we are the new kids on the block. It's
below rogues.
Yeah,
I have 2 monks. They're both in kind of casual guilds, and I'm the only monk in both guilds. Like, there's just not a lot of us out there, especially in the kind of the level of people that, they level 1 character, maybe 2. They don't want to start from 1. We're still seeing that even after the the free level 90. Like, I would have expected there to be more people to use the 90 boost. So, you run into that problem. And then it's also, on our levels, it's bring the class you're having trouble bringing down these, early heroic bosses. No one's going to be like, you know what, I'm gonna switch to a monk and just try it out. We're going to bring the class we know. And I got on the wagon early, so I feel comfortable bringing my monk in. But a lot of people out there just don't when they're at kind of the normal beginning of heroic level. So
definitely,
that's the problem we're seeing.
And that doesn't stop at like that level either. That goes on pretty high up there, believe it or not. That people just, this is what I've played. This is what I'm comfortable playing. And with tanks outside of something entirely game-breaking, there's oftentimes not a huge reason to switch to what kind of tank you are, honestly.
Exactly. The DK can do it just fine. The monk might be a little better, but would you do it better as a monk?
It's not worth re-leveling just for an additional single-point percentage increase.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times, though, it isn't. So, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I expect if BlackRock Foundry has a lot of top-end guilds using monks, you might see more representation, but it also might highlight the fact, and I'm almost willing to bet money on the fact that Blizzard, once they see what they think is fine representation of brewmasters or monks in general, even, that they will nerf back down our stagger thing. Because the problem is the skill floor and the skill ceiling were so far apart at the start of this expansion, and now that it's closed, well, I say closed, it's more the floor went up, and the ceiling just kind of like sat there, but we became overpowered. So I completely foresee that buff being undone, but they're going to wait till they see more brewmasters, or we do something really broken, which BlackRock Foundry, here we go.
Yeah.
I think you went over a good point really quick. You said as soon as we start seeing more high-end guilds playing brewmasters, it's like a trickle-down effect. The high-end plays it, so then, the people who do Mythic but are behind the high-end are like, you know what? We're going to bring a brewmaster. Yeah. And then the heroics are like, you know what? The Mythic people are doing brewmaster, let's bring a brewmaster. And then it trickles down to where everybody then has a brewmaster. So it's up to, the big guilds out there to really bring brewmasters. So get on that.
Yeah, get on that.
Get on it.
Make people roll monk.
It's now time to travel to the Peak of Serenity, the home for all monks in
Zen Pilgrimage.
Monks, assemble!
All right, so as we've been doing the last few shows, I want to go over recruitment. If your team is looking for a monk, we happen to know a few. Working as intended on Airy Peak US.
I understand. Heard of them.
Yeah. I understand they are looking for a monk.
They're not working as intended.
It's hard to work when you don't have 3 monks, I will say that. Right. No, we are looking for a Mistweaver, so yeah, currently we are 1 to 7 Mythic, working on 2 this week. Hope better. Else I'll be angry, and if you don't want to see it, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
When do you raid?
We raid, oh boy, I gotta convert to Pacific. So Pacific time, 5:30 to 8:30, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Airy
Peak. Yeah, Airy Peak US. So for me, that's 10:30 to 1:30, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Japan time. But yeah, we are looking for a Mistweaver. If you want to head on over to wairaid.com, that is our awesome page for some videos and information. Check out our app, shoot us a message, and yeah, see you in game.
All right, fantastic.
Plug over.
Yeah, all right. 7 Sages on Sargeras US Alliance site is seeking a Brewmaster, Windwalker, or Mistweaver for Mythic content.
Well, for the trifecta.
Yes. They raid Tuesday through Thursday, 9 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can apply at 7sagesguild.com. They currently don't have a monk on their team, so get over there and share the love.
It's a very sad situation with no monks.
Indeed. No monks at all.
How do they
all
do
those one-hand
Oberon?
weapons going to shamans and rogues. That's not to be done.
How do you down Twin Ogron without a monk?
Well, there are 6 of 7.
Is it even allowed?
I don't think it's possible.
It's not actually.
Think about all those druids that have that extra gear.
They had to sacrifice many gnomes to kill Twin Ogron.
Save the druids. Get rid of their gear and give it to the monk. Come on, guys.
All right. Shadow Pact on Defias Brotherhood EU. Alliance side are recruiting a Mistweaver and or Windwalker. They are currently 6 of 7 normal, looking to move into heroic content. They raid Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 1930 to 2230 ST, whatever the hell time zone that is.
What is ST, guys?
Standard time? Something standard time. I don't know.
Um,
I'm
straight up
assuming
standard
they
time.
must be using Greenwich Mean Time or Zulu time.
They know what time it is. ST time. It means something to them.
If
so-
you're in the EU, you probably know what ST
Right.
means.
Right.
After a time.
Okay.
Africa South time?
Uneducated Americans here.
And you can visit them at www.shadowpact.proboards.com. All right, we do have a question in the dojo. Let's see, Quintuple's question was 10 item levels better than perfect stats for weapons, I'm assuming. Yes or no? What do we think?
Hina's coming back with maybe a DPS neutral. The only time you'll see that 10 item level thing is PvP Conquest gear versus your heroic gear. That's the only instance I can really think of that occurring. Chances are 99% of the time go with the higher item level.
Yeah.
That's probably a really good rule of thumb to fix. You can sim it if you really want exact answers, but 99% of the time just go with the higher item level. The agility is worth it, and the gear on Heimdall sucks anyway.
I'm going to add a caveat for Mistweavers. For Windwalker's, Mastery is bad, but it's not so bad that you want to give up agility for it. For the Mistweaver, Mastery is so bad that you may want to give up Intellect for it.
Wait, you don't want that Mastery Haste item? But it's so good!
God. So, for weapons, armor, and trinkets, I would say for armor and trinkets, probably. Weapons, probably not. Weapons, you'll take the Mastery and like it. Everything else, I'd say 5 to 10 item levels, I would go with the stats. Once you get past 10, go with the item levels. But that's just for Mistweaver. Windwalker and Brewmaster, I would say
Master,
item levels.
just take the higher item level. For Deckgum, kids! For Brewmaster, the stats the increased amount of stats, the stamina, agility will make up for it, and the weapon damage, obviously very important. So just go with the higher item level. And I'd assume similar for Windwalker as well.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, I think it's time to put the brew away. So everyone, please rate us on iTunes or Stitcher, subscribe on YouTube or on Twitch.tv. And would you like to help support the show and help it grow and get even better? You can become our boss by going to patreon.com/monkmeditation. You can help guide the future of the show and get some fun rewards along the way, like our wonderful Patreons, at Cuddly Bruce, at M. Lundstead, and Kevin. I don't know your Twitter handle, so thank you all for supporting the show. We appreciate it. And Kevin, please get back to me regarding your shirt size. I need to send you your shirt. Again, visit patreon.com/monkmeditation to help support the show. All right. Anyone have any shout-outs? I know LeBlue does. So LeBlue?
Big shout out to the Shattered Soulstone podcast for calling me out and realizing who I was and helping me decide to go monk for Season 2 of Diablo 3 instead of my usual Demon Hunter. And also a shout out to my raid team on getting twins and hopefully Bracken score this week. Hooray!
All right, anyone else got a shout out?
Yes. Want to shout out to Blizzard for closed beta for Heroes of the Storm coming out tomorrow. If anybody knows, I'm huge.
He gets a little excited about Heroes of the Storm.
I do. Yeah, we get to play Thrall. He might be a shaman, but I like to think of him as a monk that uses the elements.
I might pick that game up again just to go ham on Thrall.
Oh, man. So exciting. And for those of you who don't know, I do the Nexus podcast every Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Come hang out with us.
Yep. All right. Anyone else?
Shout out to Wisconsin, because I was just there over the holidays.
State.
I love you.
The entire state. I love cheese. I love beer.
You love being
That's
in the
true. They are
States.
good for beer.
Yeah.
Yes,
that is
and-
true. Wisconsin is awesome for beer.
Yes, shout out to the Green Bay Packers as well and their eventual journey to Seattle.
Good job beating Dallas. Thank you, team.
Yes. Yes. As long as it's, I like two
They're just
teams.
not gonna
the
get past
Giants
Seattle,
and
though.
whoever's
Sorry.
playing Dallas.
But I'm very happy to report that I was able to bring back an extra 5 kilos of Wisconsin with me to Japan. So, yeah, it's good beer there. It's too much. I like it. So, good to be back home in the U.S. And I loved 30 millisecond ping. So,
All right. Duke, you got anything?
yeah.
Nope, I'm good this week.
All right, as part of the Monk community, if you have a blog, website, or person you want to see on the show, reach out to us via email at show@monkmeditation.com. Monk community is the best one in the world of Warcraft, and we want to showcase it. Duke, how can the dojo best reach us?
Well, you can follow the show at monk_meditation. Follow Chai Tea at WowMonk. Air can be found at Airwalker. I can be found at Daikatsu CTR, no underscore. Guanchu is Geek of Random, and LeBlue is Kagurrai_LeBlue.
Thank you all for listening. You can watch us live Monday, January 26, 2015 at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 100 UTC at twitch.tv/wowmonk or visit monkmeditation.com for links to all the ways to watch and listen to the show. Monk Meditation is part of Catalyst Gaming Media. For other great gaming blogs, podcasts, and events, visit catalystgamingmedia.com. And that wraps up this episode of Monk Meditation.
May your bruise be strong and your heart stronger.